I often get invited to speak at events like this because of my history working with some of the greatest peace leaders in the world. Over the last decade, I've run foundations for both His Holiness the Dalai Lama, as well as Archbishop Desmond Tutu, two of the world's greatest well-known peace leaders. Additionally, I spent much of the last 2 years working on a project to shine a light on the work of the Catholic Church to fight human trafficking and what they're doing to fight the refugee crisis, all at the request of Pope Francis. However, my own personal journey began much earlier as a peace leader, all the way back to my Rotary Youth Exchange in Brazil. Thanks to Rotary, I was able to go from a small mountain town, Grand Lake, Colorado, to the city of Recife, the fourth largest urban area in Brazil. This opportunity was one that greatly expanded my worldview. It opened my eyes beyond what I could even imagine. It taught me the power of connecting to my world. I returned from Brazil and I was committed I was going to make a huge difference, a fascinating impact on the world. Do something that really was going to just make waves and just have the greatest impact on society. So I did what anyone would do. I moved to Hollywood and I became a fashion stylist. I spent all of my 20s and my early 30s working at the crossroads of fashion, entertainment, and technology. But one day I realized that I wanted more out of my life. I realized that it was time to start using my powers for good. And so I got a job working in the nonprofit sector. Today, as I travel the world, even as I spent this week here and I look around this room, I'm struck by the gorgeous rainbow of cultures on display. And as I look and I think about this, I'm reminded of a philosophy that I first learned from Archbishop Tutu. It's a philosophy called Ubuntu. Ubuntu loosely translates to, I am because we are. My humanity is inextricably bound, it's tied up in yours, and we can only be human together. Now, as I work to discover my own contributions towards peace, I realized that for me personally, the key is really how can I help others to find peace in their life? So when I was working with the Archbishop at his foundation, I created a program called Peace 3. It blends much of the work of Archbishop as well as the secular teachings of the Dalai Lama. Peace 3 really stands for peace within, peace between, and peace among. The first part of this program is peace within. This means developing an inner peace, peace on a personal level, dealing with spiritual, emotional, and psychological dimensions. It aims to encourage self-awareness and self-reflection. Now, I don't know how many of you have had the opportunity to hear the Dalai Lama speak, or maybe even Pope Francis, but when you do, you know that their inner peace is palpable. You can feel it radiating out to you, no matter where you are in a stadium. And even if you're surrounded by thousands and thousands of people, you can feel that energy. Many people have a lot of different ways for achieving inner peace. For Archbishop Tutu, he does it through prayer. His Holiness the Dalai Lama does it every morning for hours and hours of meditation starting at 4 a.m. I have a great friend named Jamal Yogas. He wrote a book called Saltwater Buddha, and it's really all about how he is able to achieve inner peace through surfing. For me personally, I both meditate and I pray, but I found that the best way for me to achieve inner peace is walking with my dogs in the redwood forest in my backyard. For all of us, it's a very, very personal journey. Peace between is the second pillar, and it's about building strong relationships between people, specifically your family, your friends, and your community. Recognizing that conflict is always going to be part of the human experience, we have to learn effective ways to communicate with one another in order to transform conflict into something positive. This is my Aunt Diane. I'm confident that a lot of you may have an aunt just like mine. We disagree on many, many things, but we have an amazing relationship. That's possible because rather than focusing on the things that we disagree on, we focus on what our shared loves are. My dad, her kids, we both love to travel, and we both love fashion. By focusing on what we have in common, we're able to rise above our differences and be very, very close. I was a charter member of the Rotary Club of San Francisco Castro. Those of you that might not know, it was the first LGBTQ cultured Rotary Club in the world. A lot of people ask, why do we need a club like this? The Castro Rotary Club stands as a model for the world that Rotary is truly a diverse and inclusive organization. And since its founding, there's more LGBTQ cultured clubs throughout the world that have started. Now, as we all know, Rotary didn't even allow women as members until 1987. To this day, Rotary International has never had a female president. And very few of the more than 100 men that have been president have been people of color. But I would posit that it's women, the diversity of race, cultures, faiths, and even acknowledging our LGBTQ brothers and sisters is in fact exactly what keeps Rotary relevant and what makes us the thriving organization that we continue to be. It is fundamental that those of us who might not fit the stereotypical idea of what a Rotarian is, we need to stand fast in our authenticity. An important part of how culture is going to evolve is through visibility. The third pillar of Peace 3 is peace among. Once we're able to find inner peace and we practice that with those that we care about, we can carry that peace forward into our communities, and ultimately this is going to lead to peace among nations. In 2017, I spent several days with the Bedouin in Wadi Rum, Jordan. Many of you may have had the great opportunity to go to a Bedouin camp in Jordan. You know, there's gorgeous tents and there's rugs on the ground and maybe chandeliers hanging from the ceiling. If your Bedouin camp didn't look like this, you didn't stay in a real Bedouin camp. While I was there, I learned about the issues that face the Bedouin. Modern borders and conflicts in the Middle East make it difficult for these nomadic people to travel the distances that they used to with their herds. Many of them fear losing their traditional ways of life, especially as young tribal members are moving to cities for a different lifestyle, and climate change is affecting areas where they can graze their herds. It wasn't until I was able to sit down with these people that I was able to truly understand about the issues facing them. And later, I was able to sit down with King Abdullah and Prince Ali, and leaders in the Hashemite kingdom, and share with them about these issues. I was able to work to help create peace among people. One of my favorite quotes is a quote by Archbishop Tutu. If you want peace, you don't talk to your friends. You need to talk to your enemies. In 2016, I was invited by Mohammed bin Salman to speak at an event in Saudi Arabia. This was before he was a crown prince. I call this photo, one of these things is not like the others. I was really outside of my comfort zone on this visit. The event was sponsored by UNESCO and the Princess Misk Foundation, and it was about supporting young people and really exploring how the kingdom could move forward into a modern age. To that end, I stated on stage that if the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia was serious about becoming a modern country, it really needed to start focusing and addressing the rights of women and girls, people with disabilities, and its LGBTQ citizens. I stepped off stage, and I was congratulated by the prince, and then I sat down for an interview with Saudi TV. When I got back to the green room, my phone was like buzzing and lit up, and I had 87 new notices on Twitter. I read through them, and the responses were just overwhelmingly positive. Gratitude that someone had called for gay rights in the kingdom. UNESCO picked up on the buzz and decided they were going to tweet out a photo of myself and my husband with Archbishop and Mrs. Tutu. At this point, I was a little overwhelmed with the attention and decided I was going to try and take a nap, but my phone just kept buzzing with new notifications. I'd really tapped into something in the kingdom. That night, I flew out to Frankfurt, Germany, and when I landed, I turned my phone on, and again, it was blowing up. But this time, the notifications were different. There were hundreds and hundreds of calls from my death, including photos of me on stage, as well as personal photos that people had gleaned from my social media. My visa was revoked, and I'm no longer welcome in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. But something amazing came out of this experience. Young people who were in attendance at the conference reached out to me via Facebook and Twitter, Instagram and WhatsApp. Young people all over the Middle East reached out to thank me. People who had been struggling with their sexuality and often lived in areas where their lives would be in danger if they were to come out, they thanked me for being an example of someone who was living my life authentically. Now, in my personal exploration of creating peace, I'm often asked, how are we going to be able to find peace in a world that we have so much suffering? For me, the best way to find peace is that we have to take action. Most of my work over the last decade has been focused on modern slavery and inspiring young people to be peace leaders. I am the co-creator of the Ubuntu Lab. It's a place where we can work with young people to help them value the diversity of the human experience. It's a place where the knowledge of this diversity gives them the skills to live and work together and unlock a world where there's space for everyone to achieve their own vision of peace and prosperity. Now, I know my experience might seem unique. I've had the opportunity to meet some amazing people and to work with phenomenal people that all of us know. But is it really unique? I hope that something I've shared today has resonated with you. Perhaps makes you want to further explore, break out of your comfort zones, talk to people who might disagree with you, and find common ground. Get out there and take action. Finally, my call to each and every one of you today is to help inspire people, not just members of our Rotary family, but people all around the world. This year, you all have a unique platform. Help our fellow members appreciate what it has meant to focus on peace within, peace between, and peace among. May that be part of our great legacy. Thank you.